Hello and welcome back to Inmr. In today's podcast, I'm going to be reacting live to the Europa League draw. Obviously, Brighton today find out their opponent in the round of 16. Obviously, because Brighton have never been in the Europa League before, I've spent a little bit of time trying to wrap my head around how it all works. So I believe that Brighton cannot draw against any English teams. They can't draw against teams like Liverpool and West Ham, for example, but they also can't play anyone who tops the group as well. So teams like Villarreal, Atlanta, Leverkusen, Rangers. We can't play any of those. You can only play a team who went through the round of 32 or the round of 16 qualifiers, whatever you want to call it. So the teams that we can face are Roma, Freiburg, Karabag, AC Milan, Benfica, Sporting Lisbon, Sparta Prague, and Marseille. A very good set of teams in there. The draw starts in about 5 minutes, so we're going to find out very soon who it is that we're going to face. Yeah, three minutes to go until the coverage starts, so we'll be going through that until we see Brighton. One really quick thing to note is that if we draw Sporting Lisbon, we would play them on the 5th of March instead of the 7th, so that would be on the Tuesday. This has come out from Brighton this morning, so let me just see. Please note that due to the city clash between Benfica and Sporting Lisbon, if we were to draw against Sporting, the away leg would take place on Tuesday the 5th of March. If we get Benfica, it stays the same, but just for Sporting, that would take place on Tuesday. The home leg would stay the exact same on the 14th of March, and that's either going to be 5:45 or 8 p.m. kickoff. I will definitely be at that game. The away leg, we still obviously do not know, but fingers crossed I'll be able to go. The only place I'm sort of not, ideally you don't want to go back to Marseille. We've already played them, it's done and dusted, and obviously the people that went to Marseille know what it was like, so no one really wants to go back there. But if we get them, we get them. We'll just see. In terms of who I'd like to face, I think Benfica would be a really good one. For me, I don't really care. I'd just like to win so that we can do it again. It's sort of, at the minute, it's one of them where I don't think anyone that supports the Albion can quite believe what's going on. So it's sort of just like, can we go to the game? Roma, obviously, you'd take it. Freiburg, definitely. AC Milan, that would be the best one for me, I think. Between them and Sparta Prague, I think Prague as a city, as I said, for Brighton fans, it's the experience. So Prague would definitely be one for me that I'd love to go to. They did really well last night, beating Galatasaray 4-1. And then, yeah, as I said, AC Milan, San Siro. They actually lost yesterday against Rennes, but overall on aggregate 1. There's some really, really good teams in there. I do think they're all beatable because you've got to back yourself in this sort of thing. AC Milan's the only sort of, I'm not sure one, just because they've got world-class players in that side. So who looked good in qualifiers? As I said, I thought Karabag were really good. Toulouse against Benfica was super unlucky. I reported on that game yesterday, and to be honest, I can't quite believe that Toulouse didn't make it through. They had so many chances to go ahead, but it just wasn't their night. I did a minute-by-minute blog for that game, so if you haven't seen that, be sure to check it out on the Inmr website. Roma and Feyenoord I thought were really well matched. That's the game I reported on the week before for the first leg. I thought they were really well balanced in that initial game, and then obviously yesterday it went all the way to penalties. They were really well matched up side, so I'm interested to see who Roma get. Okay, the stream has started, so now it's just a case of waiting for all these advertising bits to stop. So we're just moments away now from the draw starting. We're just going through all the teams that are through and how they got there. Just to go through it with you, we've got Atalanta, we've got Brighton, Bayer Leverkusen, who are doing absolutely outstanding in the league this season, Liverpool, Rangers, Slavia Prague, Villarreal as well. I believe they're the only Spanish side left in the competition. West Ham, who won the Conference League last season. Benfica, obviously, who went through last night. Freiburg from Germany, they beat Lens 3-2 yesterday. Marseille came second in their group behind Brighton, AC Milan, Karabag, who arguably had the best set of games, and Roma, who won on penalties yesterday, narrowly beating Feyenoord, Sparta Prague, Sporting Lisbon. That is all of the teams in the round of 16, so now we are going to see who is going to match up with who. And then after the draw is out, we're going to speak a little bit about key players that we're going to need in our game. Obviously, that depends on who we get, their style of play. I will be doing like an analysis and a preview of the side we face beforehand, as I did with the first 3 games in the group stage. That was like Athens at home, Marseille away, and Ajax at home. And of course, Brighton have a game tomorrow against Everton, which we'll speak a little bit about. Okay, so they're just explaining how it's all going to work. So, as we said earlier, the group winners will play away. Right, John O'Shea's got his hand in the pot. Sparta Prague. So now they move over to that pot and then choose who they're going to play. Ooh. Okay, Sparta Prague have been drawn and they will be facing Liverpool. That is a very, very tough tie. Next team out from the qualifiers, Marseille. Okay, so they can play anybody as well. They are the only French team left, I believe. Yeah, they can play against any of them apart from obviously Liverpool. Okay, he's got the next ball out. So Marseille are going to be facing Villarreal. Brighton are not returning to Marseille. Marseille are going to play Villarreal in the round of 16. Okay, next team out of the qualifiers pot, Roma. Okay, this is a big one. They won yesterday on penalties, narrowly making it through to the round of 16. So they won't be able to face Atalanta because they are from the same country. Apart from that, it's fair game. Brighton are playing Rome! Brighton are playing Rome! Oh my days. Okay. Okay. 7th of March, Brighton are going to Rome. Paul Barber's there, Tony Bloom is not. Okay, they're going to be playing Roma. Gee, that's a tough game. The next pot's already out, but I can't. Okay, Benfica are up next. The two teams I didn't want was Sporting and Marseille, and we haven't got them. Roma, that's a big game. So now it's a case of what is the capacity of the Roma Stadium. I'm not a season ticket holder, but I've got the points. Obviously, a lot of Brighton fans will know those points are so vital. 73,000, so 5% of that. That's a big away allocation. That's a decent draw. Okay, Benfica are going to play Rangers. Freiburg, next out. I can't believe that. I shouldn't be getting my hopes up because there's such a low chance me getting them tickets. But how good would that be? Freiburg are next out. They can't play Leverkusen because they're a German team as well. West Ham. Freiburg versus West Ham. That's a good little matchup. Sporting are out. They'll be playing a little bit earlier than everybody else. They can face any three sides. Nobody wants to face Leverkusen. I think they're the favourites this year alongside Liverpool. Atalanta, Sporting versus Atalanta. That'll be on Tuesday, the 5th of March. So that's a good little matchup. These are all very good games. I think the only one that you write off immediately is Sparta Prague versus Liverpool. AC Milan. Okay, so it will be Slavia Prague or Bayer Leverkusen for AC Milan. Slavia Prague. Yeah, that's good for them. So that will mean, oh my God, Qarabag are playing Leverkusen. That's so bad. Yeah, the director looks fuming. They've only got Leverkusen left to play. It's a shame because Qarabag looked really good and did quite well, but I mean Leverkusen, it's ridiculous. Okay, so these are the games for the round of 16. We'll save the Brighton one until last. We have got Sparta Prague versus Liverpool, Marseille versus Villarreal. Very happy for Brighton to miss out on a trip back to Marseille. Benfica will take on Rangers. Freiburg will take on West Ham. And Sporting will take on Atalanta. AC Milan versus Slavia Prague. Qarabag versus Leverkusen. And finally, Roma versus Brighton. Wow! First of all, I watched the Roma game last week, so that's going to make the analysis a little bit easier coming up in a few weeks' time. What I'm going to do in terms of the Brighton content around that, let me just check. So the plan is we will play Roma away on the 7th. There'll be a podcast coming out on the 8th with everything from that day, regardless of whether or not I go. It'll be my reaction to the game, and then a little bit of analysis prior to the second leg at home. So the reaction to the away leg and the preview to the home leg will all be put into one podcast on the 8th of March. And then obviously there'll be extra stuff if I get to go to Rome. The capacity of the Roma Stadium, because this is a big part, obviously, as someone that's not a season ticket holder, the capacity of it is a massive factor on whether or not you're going to get a ticket. So you get 5%. So the Roma Stadium, the Stadio Olimpico, okay, The capacity is 72,500. So, right, so 5% of 72,500 is 3,630. So there's quite a lot of tickets on offer. There's more tickets than there were for Marseille, which hopefully would give the best chance of me and my mum being able to go to Roma. Key players for Roma, obviously Romelu Lukaku. He's got great stats in the Europa League. He's one I mentioned to keep an eye out for in my live blog a couple of weeks ago. Somebody I did like the look of, I think it's Eduardo Bove. I think he's a good little player. Somebody that we need to watch out for in that midfield and coming forward. I didn't think he was too bad when I watched him. Dybala, I didn't see a lot from him against Feyenoord in the first leg. However, everybody knows how good Dybala is. And of course, as I just said, Romelu Lukaku, he's been fantastic in the Europa League for years now. He got a goal in the first leg. This season, he scored 16 goals in 32 matches. It's a goal every 2 games. In the Europa League, he's had 6 goals and 1 assist in 8 games. So he's not a stranger to this competition. He is somebody to definitely look out for, and I'm really excited to see how Lewis Duncan van Heck deal with his presence, because on his day he's a good striker. Just because it didn't work out for him in the Premier League and at Chelsea, and he did have good spells in the Premier League, just not with Chelsea, not really with Man United, but that doesn't make him a bad player. He is very good, and he's definitely someone that we need to look out for. So we are going to face them in literally just under 2 weeks' time. In that time, Roma are going to face Torino and Monza, and then we will play them after the Monza game. So we'll be keeping an eye on how they do in that. Yeah, they had a bit of a rocky start to the year, winning 1 of 4, but then they went on a run of 4 wins, then lost to Inter, and they haven't lost since in all competitions. So we'll just have to keep an eye on them. They seem like they could potentially be a bit inconsistent with results, but we just got to hope that we don't face them when they're in a good patch. These next 2 games they've got are going to be very important for them. In terms of Brighton, we have, of course, got Everton tomorrow. I will be at that game reporting, so keep an eye on the stuff that's going to come from that. Make sure you're following the Inmr Twitter, Instagram, stuff on the website is going to be going up. The Twitter, most importantly, to keep up to date with everything that's going on with Inmr. So that'll be a massive game. I'll be previewing that a little bit later on. So we've actually got 3 games before we take on Roma. We've got Everton tomorrow, Wolves in the FA Cup at Wolves, and then we take on Fulham on the 2nd of March at Craven Cottage. And then we've got a difficult run after that, so it's very important to get this win in the Europa League to build some confidence, because after that we've got Forest, which should be a winnable game, but then we'll have Roma at home, which once again very important, and then we've got a very, very tough run of games. We've got City, Liverpool, Brentford, Arsenal all in a row, then Chelsea, Villa. We've got a very difficult run coming up now for this push towards the end of the season, so success in the Europa League is vital, not only for confidence, but just making the most out of what has been already an incredible season, because we've got to experience it. Yeah, and just building it. Currently sitting in 7th, 1 point above Newcastle. They take on Arsenal next, so that makes the win against Everton even more important. Back to the Europa League, we're looking at key players. Obviously, João Pedro is going to miss out for the first time. That is going to be a huge loss. A little bit worrying, more than a little bit worrying, to be honest with you. He's been outstanding. He's out for about a month, so we'd have to get through. We wouldn't see him until the quarterfinals if we got there. So that's going to be a big miss, but we've got Danny Welbeck, who can definitely do a job there. Jack Hinshelwood as well, at the open training session the other day. He came out the tunnel in crutches, so we will not be seeing him for the rest of the season, I can imagine. So they're 2 big misses. But Joel Veltman's on his way back. I'm not sure how long that's going to be. Obviously, Adingra is back from AFCON. He's been absolutely outstanding during that competition and came back with a bang, getting a brace against Sheffield United. So he'll be available going forward. Ansu Fati's back. And Ciso, we might see a little cameo appearance from him, who knows. One player in particular who I think has maybe gone under the radar a little bit, but has been outstanding this season and really come into his own, is Facundo Buonanotte. I think he came in with a bit of a reputation, but still not, like, nobody was expecting anything from him. but he still came in with like a little bit of pressure. Since Solly March's injury, he's been outstanding, and he's really like taken that right wing role and just made it his own. So I think he's going to be really important for us. Pascal Gross as well, just for that bit of experience in the midfield alongside Billy Gilmore. And luckily we've got Danny Welbeck, who provides that experience in front of goal. João Pedro is a huge miss because now we've got to rely on other people to get us the goals. But I do think we can do it. So that is where I'm going to end today's podcast. Brighton are facing Roma in the Europa League round of 16. Thank you very much for following along, and I'll see you next week with another podcast.